Hey guys, how are things going? Hopefully everybody's had a decent enough week, considering all of the crazy that has been going on in the VTuber sphere recently. So yeah, it's been a little bit nuts. Of course, everything's been a bit crazy lately. You know, one of the largest corpo just crashing out. So, of course, I don't exactly talk all that much about that kind of stuff or other things, but it's kind of hard when early in the week it's where, how do I put this? My tween daughter, she aspires to be a VTuber one day, and she kind of looks up to me, but she has her Oshi as well. And granted, it's kind of hard not to actually cry along with your daughter when your daughter all of a sudden sees everything that happens and it's her Oshi. Her Oshi is the one that actually has all of the problems and sees everything falling apart. So it's really hard. And of course, with regards to most corpos, everybody knows that when you have a corpo, the IP is owned mainly by the corpo. So, of course, my daughter, being a tween and not exactly understanding, she's used to understanding that, graduations happen. And I had to spend a good half hour explaining to my daughter that her Oshi was not graduating. She's just leaving Vshosho. And that her Oshi is going to continue. Oh. Yeah. The way things tend to go. Yeah. It's definitely one of those things where you want to stay indie. And it's like the age of the indie is starting to actually happen. So I mean, you've got all of the different ones out there, Niji being Niji. We all know how that goes. I mean, we only need to go looking as far as Saba to actually see how that all played out. And yeah, of course, all you got to do is look at the previous model that she had before and her new model, and you can see all of the work and everything that she went into it on and everything that goes with that. But it's where we can always hope to one day, being smaller streamers, we can hope to actually get our audience to actually be large enough that we will, gain our community, have them here, and be with us. So that they can hang out with us, have a laugh, have a good time, and just chat. Because that's all we really want, I mean, it's good to just hang out, not really try to pay attention to what's going on in our real life. And, look around us and actually see the different things that are in the world, and sometimes talk about the different things that go on in the world. Because, of course, everybody has an opinion. I have my own. Being a dad, there are a lot of things in the world that just, kind of rough. I mean, just recently, I ran into a few people in different chats and different places I hang out, and they end up learning about me, and immediately they're like, hey, we need to protect this old man because he's living the dream. Well, about that, the living the dream isn't exactly peachy keen and roses. I mean, we got to think about this. I mean, I'm glad that a lot of other VTubers out there, especially in the bigger corposphere, that are moving indie now, and a lot of the other indies are starting to actually come out and actually say and show that they're in a relationship. Because truthfully, dude, if you think she's single and you got a chance, you might if they're single, but then you've got to weigh that with the thought of, do you really have a shot? I mean, if they've got a large following, they might not date a chatter, you don't know. But that's not for anyone to decide. I mean, stranger things have happened. I mean, I've been with my wife, and not fully married, mind you, but I've been with her for over 20 years. And the one key thing I can say to all of that is communication. And trust me, communication can break down all the time. It breaks down multiple times. And the one thing you have to realize is you need to have the wherewithal to get off your high horse. Don't have an ego like pirate software, and realize that you can screw up. You can screw up anytime. Dro, thank you. Yeah, it's where the modern era has actually screwed things up quite a bit. Most people run into a lot of things in the dating sphere these days that just suck. And it's one of those hard things to say, and any other chatters would be able to actually pipe up about that, you know? So, I mean, it goes through its own things, its own phases. And there are plenty of things to actually talk about. And I wanted to actually take a moment, at least a little bit today, to just go over some of the other things that are highlighting out there in the greater sphere that aren't so much, because all of the eyes are on the thing that's going on with Bishoujo, and we're going to touch on that a little bit today. Because the majority of the things are out there. Most people have already seen them, you know, and basically I've been saving one of the ones that I follow just to see them and see how their take is on it, and, you know, see where we can go from there. But I wanted to actually start off with another thing that's actually been focusing pretty hard, and that one is actually with regards to Japan and the payment processors and the other stuff that's going on in the world. Because one of the other things that everybody's been following for the last several weeks is the Stop Killing Games initiative and all of that. And now it seems we've got different ones out there that are pushing the narrative a bit further on that. So, I mean, I'm a gamer. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a streamer. Come on, you know? So, yeah. I wanted to actually see about getting this rolling. So, one moment. Let me just move myself. And let's see. Yep. Here we go. Yeah, because we were going to check this on out. I'm going to kill my BGM here for a second so that we can get to this. Here we go.
Hopefully you're familiar with the whole Collective Shout situation, this Australia-based feminist organization that recently began a whole campaign of trying to get Steam games censored. I guess maybe they've been doing it for a while, but recently they succeeded getting Steam to take down some adult games and implement a new policy that basically says they gotta listen to payment processors' demands, which was
Yeah, and this is where all of a sudden it comes down into it is the whole payment processor's demands, because you have to realize inside of their agreements and the payment processors, when you set up, like, if you set up a business or a shop or whatever, and inside of it they have certain terms and conditions, just like everybody has a EULA or a TOS. Okay, let's see here. Okay, thanks for the warning on that. Thanks for the warning, Drew. Okay. Let's see here. Is there a boost I can pull off here? Come on. I swear. One moment. This always kind of deals with what it deals with. 1 second. Gotta try to fix this. Hmm. Okay. All right. Let's try this again.
That's the way that Collective Shout facilitated
Maybe that'll work. Let's try this again, shall we?
these takedowns by complaining to payment processors who then tried to enforce this stuff on Steam, and there we are. Now, Japan itself has had an issue with payment processors trying to take down certain websites. For example, even a simple otaku dating site came under the fire payment processor.
Okay, now that brings me back to what I was talking about. Okay, because my brain distracted, of course. Now, as I was saying before, for the payment processor thing and their terms and conditions, the EULA, that sort of stuff, they have a listing out there for the things that. Welcome to Tangent World. Thanks, Dro. But it's where the way it goes is they have their own listing of things that you have to abide by, or they will just cut you off entirely. And when you think about it, the current payment processors that hold the majority of things, they can just say, oh, you're violating our terms and blah, blah, blah. So we're just going to cut you off. And if all of a sudden they shut you off, well, you're SOL. I mean, can we imagine what it would be like for say Steam? I mean, since we're talking about Steam, if all of a sudden they no longer were able to process a good majority, like over 80% of the credit cards, debit cards, and all the cards in the world. Dude, I don't know about you, but have you tried going off to a store to pick up a Steam gift card, a physical Steam gift card? Have you actually tried? I know I have. It's near impossible. They're like gone. Like the moment they show up, they're poof, their history. So it's kind of like, yeah, most people are having to use their cards to be able to make their purchases. And any business, online business, if they lost the ability to make their payments, and accept and do transactions, well, they're going to be out of business in no time, which is why this is so serious. And this is where I'm happy that Japan is getting serious.
A while back. This is all stuff I've covered thoroughly in the past, and I've mentioned this before, so I don't want to be too redundant here. The point is, this stuff's been going on, but now, as we discussed the other day too, and as you can see here on screen, Japanese politician Shida, well, he became aware of Collective Shout, this Australia-based feminist organization. We have an update on that because he has issued a follow-up statement. It's not looking good for Collective Shout, although there is unfortunately also some bad news, which we'll get to in this video after the good news. So We previously read this.
Hey,
Let's get to
hero.
the new statement. The legendary Madame Savvy had talked about, as we just talked about, how Collective Shout was called out by Japanese politician Kurishida by name.
Yep.
Kurishida saw Madame Savvy's tweet, responded to it saying, Madame Savvy, thank you for sharing the information about Collective Shout. I believe that these escalating movements to restrict expression have the potential to shrink and destroy the global content industry. The reality of these movements is still largely unknown in Japan, so and show more here, let's continue.
It's a Japanese
The
politician.
reality of this movement is still largely unknown in Japan, so I would like to inform the Japanese public and also deliver it to the Diet. For those who don't know, that is the government of Japan. I would be extremely grateful if you could provide me with any information. I would also be grateful if you could provide any information from the content industry or from overseas people who are trying to protect freedom of expression who are reading this. She responds and says, thank you, sir, for your reply in time, and most importantly, your efforts. I will privately message you shortly a lengthy DM organizing all my public research so far and get you any other political ties I have privately as well. Together, I hope we can make a brighter future for creatives all over the world. Kurishida responds and says,
Yep. And that one, that's one of those moments. That's definitely one of those moments. Definitely. Right there. Gonna need that. Yeah.
thank you again. I will check the information when I receive it. Let's work together to protect freedom of expression. So yeah, you really got to hand it to Madame Savvy. I mean, this was handled very, very well, and what a dub for her. Collective Shout is not happy about this, by the way, it seems, because
Well, of course not.
They've protected their account. Now, guys, there is a lot.
Protected. Of course, they're gonna roach out completely. They gotta roach out. But I've got my own opinion about what this entails going forward on it.
Going on. I think it's a combination of things. You know, Japan looking into this further, people all over the internet criticizing Collective Shout, also criticizing them for their ties to promoting cuties and whatnot. You know, these are all things that people are saying online and criticism that Collective Shout is receiving.
Of course, I'm going to be honest. I'm a Christian dad. So when they start talking about cuties, I start going, okay, these people and what their beliefs are, but they're going to stand up and claim that cuties, of all things, fits within their narrative. I'm just beside myself at the hypocrisy on this one. What?
So I think it's a combination of these factors. But as mentioned, Collective Shout, they seem like they're kind of going to hiding now, which is especially comedic because these are people that were bragging the other day, and for a number of days, they were bragging about the censorship that they got these payment processors to enact, and now they're hiding. You can see it for yourself right here. We go over to Twitter, we go to @Collective Shout. This is their account, and what do you know? Protected mode, guys.
Well,
yeah, these posts are protected. All that bragging.
That's what we call a roach out. That is definitely what we call a roach out right there. They're trying to roach out.
And now just hiding. This is something you see often online. Some of these internet activists or Twitter police or, you know, these sort of people, they'll go after a group online. They will try to get them censored, or they'll make some sort of hit piece about them, some sort of smear campaign, X, Y, and Z. You know how it is. And I think you know where this is going to. And when people criticize them for their actions, and or people start looking into these groups or those people who engage in this sort of actions against others, start seeing the skeletons they got in their closet, well, they always like either play victim or go into hiding or some combination of the above.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that most people tend not to actually realize is with regards to anything. If you're going to start throwing flames on the internet or anywhere, you know, you're going to start pushing things out. Everyone has skeletons in their closet. Everyone. I mean, even I do. I'm pretty sure even the bigger VTubers, the bigger people out there, even the large streamers, everybody's got skeletons. They got things that they're probably not proud of and different things that they've done. But sometimes some of these skeletons are things that they're proud of. And you just got to watch out for that. Because if all of a sudden the skeleton that comes out of the closet, you got to look at it and actually see, okay, is this something that they are proud of in retrospect? That this is a thing that happened, nobody else approves of it, but they really didn't care. Were they heartless about it? You know? I mean, just saying.
And check this out, we're not done yet. Kurishida had a follow up post. He says directly on his account now, I've received a lot of information from overseas, including Savvy-san at Madam Savvy, in addition to the Australian group Collective Shout, which is
No, I just love that, including Savvy-san. That's, I'm sorry, I'm having that cheek moment of cute. I love it.
been pressuring Steam to regulate expression. The American group NCOSE, which has been in existence since 1962, is also calling for Steam to strengthen its regulations. This is no longer speculation. They themselves are promoting these as their track record on HP and X. Further analysis is needed to determine, quote, why global platforms and credit card brand related companies accept the appeal of these groups, unquote. But since these are the source of expression regulation, the side that protects them will need to cooperate with overseas forces. We will continue to move forward. But I did mention that there was also bad news.
Oh
Before we
no.
get to that, though, let's start with a meme, shall we? So, Running
Oh,
Lists is.
thank you
these are
for the
guys who
meme. It's a
made
palate
Postal,
cleanser.
right? Hopefully I'm not wrong about that. I'm 99.9% sure. This is like the Postal meme. I'll just like the original context of this. In game, they were.
Yeah, the good part about this is just calling it out, going, yeah, we hate gamers, but don't check our hard drives.
Demanding violent games get censored. I think that's the context, right? And so they've revived the meme and changed it to be Collective Shout instead of whatever the like in universe group was. So that's pretty funny. Gosh, I played that back in post production. I explained that so poorly. In universe, in game, this was like a group of like activists who were demanding violent games get censored. If you don't know, Postal, it's a very violent game, so that's the joke. They're like showing people against those games in their own game. Now they changed it for Collective Shout. Probably most people watching this already understood that, but for anyone who's not familiar with this.
Well, there are a lot of people that don't get it. I mean, with regards to things, you never know. Hero could wind up with a normie showing up and actually seeing his content. And next thing you know, we've got somebody new who is starting to look into the sphere. And next thing you know, we got another VTuber enjoyer. You never know. Things could change. It just comes down to converting somebody over from a tourist. We just have to educate them properly. But then again, some tourists you just can't. And I'm not going to delve into that, but that, of course, goes into the whole lolly situation with regards to lolly models. Yeah. If you're going to infantilize a lolly model, get yourself checked, please.
Stuff. There you go. It's a better explanation. Moving on to the bad news. We hop over to the Twitter account of the one and only person who has monopolized ban milk. Of course, I'm talking about Permaban, who says Collective Shout also went after itch.io, and itch.io bent. Posting a screenshot of this.
Now, this is one thing I did not know anything about. Itch.io is not a place that I ever really go, but apparently some people do go there for their content. And as far as I'm concerned, more power to them if they're going for their content. It's not my place to judge. This is another thing that I can bang my gavel on as a Christian. It is not my place to judge. It is God's place to judge. If you feel convicted about it, then that's between you and God. It's kind of like how I'm trying to think, what was the name of the actress? I'm gonna look this up quick. Maggie Smith. Yeah, Maggie Smith. She was actually quoted as saying, religion is like a penis. it's all fine and dandy to have one, but it doesn't give you the right to shove it down anyone's throat. And that's true. It's the I'm a Christian. It's part of who I am. It's not my entire being. I am not one dimensional. It's just an easy context to explain where my mind sits some days. But I don't force my beliefs on other people. You can always ask me questions with regards to it, but I'm not going to shove it forward because that isn't consensual. Just gonna say that right there.
Official update from itch.io where they say update on NSFW content. We have de-indexed, quote unquote, all adult NSFW content from our browse and search pages. We understand this action is sudden and disruptive. We are truly sorry for the frustration and confusion caused by this change. And look at this, second paragraph. Recently, we came under scrutiny from our payment processors
Yep,
regarding
right
the
there.
nature of
That's
some content
what I was
moved on
talking about earlier.
itch.io due to a game titled No Mercy, which was temporarily.
Okay, I will say, scrolling through Twitter, I ran into that. I ended up going, "What is this game?" And I was like, "Oh, something I wouldn't play," but somebody would. Who am I to blame them from buying it? You know, it's not my place to judge what they enjoy.
Available on itch.io before being banned back in April. Permaband also pointing out how back on January 3rd, 2022, itch.io did make a tweet that reads, "Warning, itch.io is not for prudes. If you click our link, please be careful about what you might see." It gets cut off there, but we can see the full screenshot does say, before being banned back in April, the organization called Collective Shout launched a campaign against Steam and itch.io, directing concerns to our payment processors about the nature of certain content found on both platforms. And like we said before, these people will simultaneously go after video games online and turn around and defend freaking cuties on Netflix. The main account for their organization had like, I think around 10 tweets that I saw. Promoting and or defending cuties.
Defending cuties. I remember that back during COVID times. That was, I'll be honest, that was part of the reason why I canceled my Netflix subscription, because I'm sorry, but there's a difference between anime girls and actual girls. Okay, if you can't separate the two, you need to get checked. Like, take your meds. Seriously, take your meds.
And multiple of their members were doing the same thing on their own accounts too. So we're probably talking about well over a dozen, maybe dozens of tweets that these people all made on their various accounts promoting and defending cuties. Some of them would even try to save face a little bit, saying things like, while we don't fully agree with everything in cuties, we overall do think it's a positive thing and people should watch it. And it's like, bro,
why would you promote it? All of the things that they're actually going against. It's like, okay, you're going to say you're going to campaign against a certain thing, but then all of a sudden on the flip side, you're going to promote what you're actually against. Make it make sense.
Oh, there's nothing positive about it. There's no defending that. These people are sick. There's one last thing I want to show you in this video to end on a very much hilarious and positive note.
Oh, please.
Over on our games, they would talk about this itch.io update that we just went over. But take a look at this top response. If reports are to be believed and Collective Shout have around 1,000 people phoning up Visa/MasterCard, I think it's time to do the same and start clogging up their phone lines and email inboxes. Annoy them until they feel forced to reverse the decision. They show them MasterCard and Visa phone numbers and link to the emails.
I'm not going to say how I know, but those actually are the proper ones. Those are the correct phone numbers.
Saying regardless of how you may feel about the content, NSFW or otherwise, payment processors should not have the power to tell people what they will and won't process. So you might have right now like thousands of people calling these companies, massive corporations, like emailing them, like spamming them. Hey, Collective Shout. Hey, it's called Fighting Fire with Fire. What's good? Let's see what these payment processors think about this. And like I said before, I think there are definitely some higher ups, in my opinion, at these payment processors that completely support these actions and are like testing to see how much they can get away with, how much power they have. And they're playing a long game. You know, they want to have as much power and control over people
Yeah,
and
they're definitely
organizations,
playing long game.
companies as they possibly can. And of course, this sort of thing would certainly entice politicians as well. So there probably is some sort of crossover here between certain politicians and these payment processors and abusing power, et cetera, et cetera. My point is, while I do think this can all be larger than Collective Shout, I still find it hilarious that people are using the tactics of Collective Shout against these payment processors. It's hilarious imagining how annoyed these corpos might be getting now. But I'll leave it there. It's really all there is to say about this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed the coverage. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Have a great rest of your week. See you in the comments here and in the next one.
Of course. Of course. So yeah, I will definitely. And you guys. A link for that one. Toss out the link for that, of course. Because, yeah, kind of need that. Gotta see something here real quick. There we go. Well, having things going on, of course. Yep. There we go. Now, of course, definitely go over to the next thing. And of course, we're going to definitely go over with some words from my daughter Zoshi. And of course, everybody's going to realize exactly what I mean by her Oshi, by the image. Yep. This is her. Mousy herself. Oh, yeah. Just kind of how it goes. We're going to actually probably have a few moments in here that are different things.
This massive VTuber just exposed her management company for potentially stealing her money and over $500,000 of charity money. But
thank you, Atozi, for bringing out the big part. But there's probably a big but.
But after researching this video, I realized things are just so much worse than what's currently being talked about, as this company allegedly owes over $2 million to its creators and loans. And it actually just got worse because we just found out it's now an $11 million disaster, but we'll get into.
Yeah, $11 million because, of course, nobody wanted to talk about the fact that they went for venture capitalism. And a lot of people tend to actually skip over a few things. I hope Atozi actually brings it up because they actually, I mean, it was a footnote in the tweets and the postings and everything that they had taken out loans somewhere in 2020 to 2022. And what ended up happening is, where's the money, Lebowski?
It's that later on in this video. So starting things off, this YouTuber spent the last 2 years raising money for nonprofit medical organizations, and her agency has been sitting on over $500,000 meant for those charities. And it's safe to say things have escalated far beyond what anyone could have anticipated, because once this information was brought to light, a massive wave of creators started officially announcing that they were leaving this same agency, all for the same reasons. Nope.
Of course, because we ended up hearing from Vebe, we've heard from a lot of the others. Let's see here, Project Melody. I mean, the list goes on. Even Silver Veil. she came out and started talking about the things that ended up happening and all of the NDAs and everything like that. Now, the one thing a lot of people end up getting nervous over on those NDAs is, are they actually dissolved? No, I don't think they are. But there's a caveat. Are they enforceable? Well, if Vishojo doesn't have the money to enforce, well, all them girls are going to start talking, and we are going to have drama bombs for like next week, maybe 3 weeks, guys. It's nuts.
Payouts, and a complete lack of transparency. But meet Iron Mouse, a American VTuber from Puerto Rico who's been on the scene since the very beginning. We're talking about August of 2017. This is back when English-speaking VTubers were basically unheard of and still pretty niche. If you don't know, a VTuber is essentially a virtual YouTuber. It's a newer genre of content
Yep. Hello. Hi.
creation that originates from Japan. Normally, it's someone who uses a virtual avatar rather than showing their face on screen. And to do this, they often use like a face tracking tool, so it's not just some cartoon sitting there on the side of the screen. You actually have an animated character that's being played by a real person behind the screen. And what makes Iron Mouse's career story pretty notable is the circumstances that led her to streaming in the first place. Originally, Iron Mouse had dreams of becoming an opera singer, specifically a coloratura soprano. That
Yeah, and just a footnote on here, her story is just amazing with regards to everything. It's one of the major reasons why my daughter has chosen her as her Oshi. So yeah.
apparently is one of the most technically demanding types of opera singing that you can do. But life had other plans for her, because unfortunately she was diagnosed with something called common variable immunodeficiency, or CVID for short. And without getting too deep into the medical stuff, it's basically an immune disorder that left her largely bedridden and isolated from the world. So if you're training to be an opera singer, which requires you to be around people, perform live, travel, and so on, and then you get hit by this condition, that means things get pretty hard for you to leave the house safely. And then on top of that, to make things worse, 2020 was a terrible year for basically everyone, but an even worse year for people who are immunocompromised. But going back to 2017, she decided to pivot to streaming full time. As she puts it, she was feeling lonely and wanted something to do. And
Of course she was lonely because she was stuck in her room. Going outside meant possible infectious whatever, and she'd basically get dropped. You know, like she could catch COVID, and next thing you know, things would get even worse, and her medical bills would climb through the roof. And, it just wasn't safe for somebody like that.
since, showing her real face online wasn't something she wanted to do, she was inspired by Kazuna AI. And Kazuna AI is considered to be one of the first VTubers to exist and created her own digital persona. And honestly, it worked out very well for Iron Mouse, because by 2024, she had become one of the most subscribed Twitch streamers of all time during a subathon stream in September, which surpassed Kai Cenat's record.
Yep. Most subscribed. And of course, Kai had a moment like he said, oh no, no way.
At the time, which was an absolute massive achievement. But her success isn't just about numbers for her though, as she's always been pretty open about using her platform to raise funds and spread awareness for immune disorders, which makes sense given her direct connection to this cause. When Iron Mouse first started, she was independent, but in 2020, she became one of the founding members of this new agency called VSojo, or VS Hojo. I still don't actually know how they pronounce it, but
It's Vishojo, sir. You got to lean into the Japanese.
I think I'm gonna go for VS Hojo. VSojo. Oh no. I'm gonna go for VSojo. VS Hojo sounds easier to pronounce though. I gotta make an executive decision, and I have no idea which one's right. VS Hojo was a massive development in the VTuber scene. All right. Coming in from the future here, that was a bad executive decision. But honestly, it doesn't really matter because the company doesn't really exist anymore. So enjoy me mispronouncing the name for the rest of the video, as it was the first major VTuber agency based entirely in North America. Up until then, most of the big agencies were Japanese companies. VS Hojo positioned itself as being different and modest, as on their website, they call themselves a talent-first agency.
Yeah, bro, I know you're my mod and you don't exactly follow us too hard, but it's where she was a founding member. It's like she came into the scene, and this is paused it on the perfect spot. They created themselves and leaned into it to basically promote talent first. Because the highlight there is to keep their IP, meaning Mousy, all of everything around her is hers. And that includes her model, everything else, all of that. Now, the other side to this is the other agencies out there, they actually front forward for the model and everything else, but that's property of, like, say, Niji Sanji. And I mean, the example I can give for you there is Guargura. Guargura is property of Niji. And in regards to that, or no, it's Hololive, if I remember. Feel free to correct me. But anyway, it's just like any corpo, other than what V Shoujo was. Now, they create the entire background of everything. They do the model, they do everything. And this is so that they can do the merchandising and they can do everything else, advertising, whatnot. They own the intellectual property for it. And if the artist ends their contract and they graduate, then they walk away from the company and that character is delisted. So they don't get to leave with the IP. They don't get to continue as that person. They have to, in essence, if they decide that they're going to go indie, they have to start over. New model, new everything. So you have to start over at zero, which basically did happen with regards to Saba. Because Saba originally was a corporate person, but they did a slow drip for pre-debut, little hints and nods, as much as they could do with regards to getting around an NDA. And people showed up en masse, and everybody still loves Saba, because that was the amazing thing. I was there to see Saba's first appearance, and just magical. I'm just going to say that. He's awesome.
With that statement, they gave the impression they would at least listen to their talent's feedback, work hard to help them achieve their dreams, and their biggest selling point being, letting the creators keep their intellectual property. That's huge in the world of VTubers, because a lot of agencies actually own the character designs that can basically be taken away from them when they leave. This was not the case with VS Sojo.
And like I said, it's so that they can keep selling merchandise and everything after the talent departs. That way they can keep collecting money.
Also kind of differentiated them a little bit as they provided resources like better models, merchandising opportunities, sponsorship deals, and all sorts of stuff that managing agencies normally don't do, while letting the creators maintain more control than they would with traditional agencies. And while, hey, that sounded great on paper, and for a while it seemed to work. VS Hojo,
for the first couple of years at least, I believe,
attracted some of the biggest names in the Western VTuber scene, and Iron Mouse continued to grow her audience alongside of them. But as we know, that might have just been smoke and mirrors, because that didn't end well. Because on July 21st, 2025, Iron Mouse dropped a bombshell. She uploaded a video to YouTube titled "Why I Left VS Hojo,"
and I remember seeing that and having my daughter run up to me and just have tears running down her face. That was not a good day this week. That sucked. All of a sudden, my tween daughter runs up to me while I'm working from home on one of the days I work from home for my main job, and boom, just bawling. Because here it is, she's thinking that her Oshi is going away. So yeah, having to spend an entire hour, half-hour, explaining to her that Mousy is not going anywhere.
In hours, it was blown up. As of recording this, it's already surpassed 1.2 million views, which tells you how significant this is not only for the VTuber scene, but also for the internet as a whole. Because this video starts off pretty straightforward. She's leaving the agency, but then she gets into the why. And that's where things get a
Yep.
little bit wild, because according to Iron Mouse, she recently found out for the past couple of months that she's been misled by VS Hojo about her finances. And
Yep.
here she claims that based on the
And
information
this
that
just
she currently has,
this bowled me
she believes
over.
she's owed a significant amount of funds that have not been paid out.
I was at a loss. I was stunned. My jaw, I couldn't pick it up off the floor. I was like, how? Why? What the heck is going on? And it just too many questions. And as the week unfolded, it's nuts.
To her. But the most important thing for her, however, is the fact that the charity that she loves and promotes, the Immune Deficiency Foundation, is owed $500,000, as she explains here.
And most importantly, the thing that hurts me the most is that the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is the most important charity to me, and also the reason why I'm
Yep.
here today, is owed over $500,000 from Vishojo.
And to understand why this hit so hard, you need to know about Iron Mouse's connections to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is a national nonprofit organization that's dedicated to improving the lives of people primarily with immunodeficiency diseases. They provide support, education, and advocacy for patients and their families who are dealing with these conditions. Essentially, they're trying to help people in situations similar to what Iron Mouse has been experiencing throughout her life.
Yep.
Hence why she's actively been fundraising for them for years, since at least 2023. She's been working with her friend Connor, who goes by CDog VA online, to raise money through various events. They've done things like charity bike rides.
Now, the bike streams were fun. I enjoyed even watching a couple of those. I mean, Connor riding through Japan, it was just so wholesome. I loved it. But of course, other people had to ask me what the whole deal was with the immunodefense immunodeficiency foundation, and what the whole thing was. I'm like, you have to think about it this way. They need the funding so that they can actually come up with better treatments, be able to actually help people like Mousy and others. And hopefully one day they figure out the causes of one of the many different things so that they actually help. And I mean, who knows? They may even find a treatment that would help Mousy be able to get out of the house and no longer be afraid. And that would be a perfect day.
Online auctions and all sorts of stuff. And the Immune Deficiency Foundation even put out a statement backing her up. A spokesperson told Newsweek portal, "Our ongoing relationship with Iron Mouse is both long-standing and transparent. Each time she's hosted a fundraising activity, she's done so with the care to ensure the contributions are handled responsibly. She's been steadfast in her genuine commitment to supporting our organization and our mission." Now,
she's always been big with them.
Complete fallout. In 2024, Iron Mouse did a subathon, and she surpassed 310 subscribers on Twitch and set new records in the process. But more importantly, that subathon raised over $515,000 to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Now, according to Iron Mouse, when she did a similar subathon back in 2023, VS Hojo handled this payment without any issues. Everything went smoothly, like the money arrived at its intended destination and everyone was satisfied. But this time, nearly a year later for the stream in 2024, that money still hasn't reached the charity as of recording this video. Although, they did just have a massive raise separately, but we'll get into that later on. We're now talking about the 2024 charity situation that Iron Mouse is referring to when she talks about being misled by VS Hojo. Imagine raising $500,000 for a cause that's deeply personal to you, thinking that you've actually made a real difference here, and then you find out months later that no one actually received that money. Yeah, that's unacceptable. And obviously, she makes...
Yeah, that's kind of one of those moments where all of a sudden I think what ended up happening is, for the longest time during all of this, it's like she wasn't getting paid. A lot of people weren't getting paid, and they weren't talking to each other. So it's like the agency itself was actually having them all divided amongst each other, where they don't want them too close, but they don't want them too far apart, and they don't exactly associate with each other. So all of a sudden, Mousy manages to find out that the charity money from a year ago that was supposed to get paid out, she probably got told by somebody from the Immunodeficiency Foundation saying, "Hey, just wanted to let you know that everything that you did last year never actually got to us. So we don't know what happened. And then she started asking questions, and then she didn't get a response that would be, conducive. So that's how we got to last Monday, I think.
It's very clear in this video that there's so much more to the story that she just can't tell us right now, as she's been instructed by her attorney to wait for more legal proceedings to unfold.
Yeah, it's going to take about
before
3
she can
months
tell
for
the full
that.
story. So if you were thinking, wow, this is a massive talent agency, Iron Mouse isn't probably the only creator. You would be correct, because Iron Mouse wasn't the only VS Hojo talent to leave this year. Even before her big revelation, like, there was already cracks shown in the foundation. Because back in
I wonder
April,
if he
a VTuber
actually
by the
gets
name
to
of
all
Matara
of
Khan
them.
announced that her contract with VS Hojo would be ending in May, and that she would actually be going independent. 2 months later, another woman
I remember the
named Giga
fallout from
publicly said that
Matara.
she had terminated her contract.
And I remember
on June
Giga.
27th. And on the exact
There were
same
people
day,
having their crash out
Zentreya,
on
who was
that.
also
And
one of the
Zen.
founding talents of VS Hojo alongside of Iron Mouse, also announced that she would be leaving on July 11th. So that's a lot of their big talent gone in just a few months. And at the time, none of these departures seemed particularly dramatic. Like, people, I guess, leave agencies all the time. Like, contracts end, creators want to go independent, or they get better offers. So like this happens. Meanwhile, though, behind the scenes, VS Hojo, they were allegedly trying to sell the whole company for the sum to essentially pay back the creators the money they owed them and for loans. So now you have this screenshot out there. And this was just like a month before all this became public, and likely a desperate attempt by VS Hojo to...
Okay, let's run that back just a hair, please. Unfortunate situation, but just remembered Kat was offered $2 million to buy the whole thing, but obviously the operation was so unprofitable, Kat said no. I don't know how it ended this badly, but going through the financials, to be honest, it just look okay. To be honest, it just took a team that never ran a business before. And looks like a Discord screenshot. Some older decks that may help. Right now, we're looking at someone acquiring us. Oof. Oof. Yeah, apparently they were trying to sell Dro.
Attempt by VS Hojo to avoid this public situation that's currently unfolding as we speak. Kat here, who shared the screenshot, is known for being an early crypto investor, and he explained here that when he went through the financials, it looked like a team...
Okay, Kat was always a supporter of VTubers, was interested in investing in them. A friend of mine was the largest investor in VShojo. RIP, $0. Awesome. Maybe the loan the company took legally required them to be paid back first before the 500K stream donation. Oh. Still believe it's just a terribly ran business rather than fraud, or at least I hope. Dude, okay. From all of this, this is where all of a sudden we have that moment of, seriously, you need to earmark donation payment. And even if you're running a business, when there is a stream donation that happens, you've already got all of that money coming in. The moment it comes in, you need to segregate that fund off to a place where it can be held in trust escrow to be handed over. If you don't do that, where it can't be touched, you're going to get in deep, 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 because that's going to go into illegals, because it's already earmarked for donation. It was already earmarked for donation the moment it came in the frickin' door. So they never segregated it out. They never moved it. So they basically said they're going to take a chance on just touching all of the earmarked dollars to pay towards their loans, figuring that they'd be able to roll the ball forward and be able to pay it back. Dude, that is so short-sighted. That is beyond short-sighted. It's stupid. It's like, do you want to take a chance with actually going to prison? Seriously.
that had never run a business before. So that's interesting to see. But jumping ahead just by 1 month after Iron Mouse's video dropped, Zentrea responded in a way that suggested there may be way more going on behind the scenes than anyone realized. She hinted there were also ongoing issues with the agency that potentially influenced her decision to leave as well. And just like that, the floodgates opened. The day after Iron Mouse released her video, fellow VTuber Henya announced that she was quitting VS Hojo and going independent. And I mean, at this point, it's kind of like dominoes falling because so many big names just got up and left. Like all of these creators here. So I mean, it's safe to say the VTuber community reaction was swift and pretty unanimous in supporting Iron Mouse. Fellow streamers and VTubers started commenting on the whole situation almost immediately. Giga, who had already left VS Hojo, chimed in. Connor, who's been working with Iron Mouse on the charity stuff for years, also showed his support. Even creators outside of the VTuber space like Shibuya Kahu started weighing in. Pretty much all of them publicly showing support for Iron Mouse.
The entire streamerverse.
And the fact that so many other talents immediately started leaving after this seems like Iron Mouse's video either revealed information they hadn't known before or gave them the courage to take action, speak up about their issues with the company themselves.
This is where the walls started coming down.
Quite the situation to see unfold. And what also makes this a little bit interesting is VS Hojo has not responded to this, at least publicly in any way.
Thank you for saying that.
They've done is remove their affiliate section on their Twitter profile, which used to list a bunch of their partners. Now there's nothing there. So that's interesting. Then on top of that, the VS Hojo store has been...
Yeah, we were all watching in real time all over the place, watching those marks come down and everything. And on Twitter, they had their logos still for a while, but then those even went away.
Removed, which is also definitely interesting. But as of right now, all we can really do is wait for the situation to unfold properly. Iron Mouse has already promised that when she's legally able to do so, that she'll tell the full story of what happened behind the scenes. And given how dramatic the small segments of the story have been, I can only imagine what the complete picture will look like. And just taking a step back, this whole situation is just so wild. You have an agency that was supposed to be talent first, allegedly sitting on a whole bunch of charity money, while misleading its biggest star about finances. And then you have an entire roster of talent leaving in the span of a few months. And obviously things got so bad that one of the...
I swear it feels like all of the ladies were grabbing the tent pegs from their frickin' deck of cards tent as they were walking out the door. And the entire thing just collapsed when the last one walked out. And I don't know which one it was. What was it? Kason, maybe?
Founding members had to go public with serious allegations. It's just like a masterclass of how not to run a talent agency. And then you can't forget, literally a month before all this came out, them trying to quick sale or fire sale the whole org for, I guess, its entire debt. That's crazy. I honestly just want...
Yeah, of course they're trying to fire sale it so that they can actually walk away from it, pay off all the stuff so that they don't go to prison.
To know, where did things go wrong? As most agencies, they run on a revenue split business model. And clearly, their talent was making money. So they had to have been making money. Like, did they just overinvest into these projects and hire too many people? Or did they pay themselves out too much? I don't know.
Honestly, I think what it was is between largesse of what they were actually doing with the money. I mean, they were wasting a ton of money on advertising. I mean, we can look into the past and actually see that for all of the Vishojo advertising that was in Shibuya. I mean, that's a complete waste. I mean, come on. You're an EN primary agency. Why are you marketing in JP? That makes no sense. That's a complete waste of money. And we all know exactly how expensive marketing is in, say, Tokyo, New York, those places. No, total waste of money. Then on top of that, we've got all of the other expenses that they were throwing money at left and right. It was ridiculous. Just looking at these dollars.
Right now, all we can do is really speculate. I guess for now, only VS Hojo and a few investors who've seen their financials actually know what happened. Okay, so since recording this video, VS Hojo has actually responded. And it's worse than what we thought. So here's Justin Gunrun's response. VS Hojo has failed, not mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing.
Of course it failed.
So today I'm sharing the difficult news that VS Hojo is shutting down. And I take full responsibility for the decisions that led us to this point. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and right the ship these past few months. But despite my efforts, we're in a worse position, and those that I care about are now paying the price. Over the past few years, we've raised about $11 million to pursue a bold talent-first approach to VTubing,
11 million
prioritizing
venture
creators and
capital.
community over short-term
Oh, those
profits
guys
to
gotta
achieve
be
long-term
pissed.
sustainability. Our funding went directly to our creators through generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staffing, all designed to support them. We also wanted our talent to own their own IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for the agency. However, despite all of our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue was needed to sustain that model, and eventually we ran out of money. Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. Well, that
Right. Unfortunately, guys, I have to apologize. I really need to take a moment for myself to go to the restroom. I am very sorry. I apologize. So I will definitely be right back. I am so sorry. Sorry about that. Always got to take care of your bodily needs. That's just how that goes. Otherwise, things aren't exactly going to be good. I have to be honest. I'm dealing with a bout with my own medical condition. It's called diverticulosis. So, yeah, we're gonna get back into things here.
That's a lie. Here's a post of him retweeting Iron Mouse's charity post.
Yeah, he he posted that, and this is where all of a sudden the rest of the community starts screaming, "Where's the money, Lebowski?"
Like, hello, there's no way that he didn't know this was for charity. As a business owner, you don't just get like this massive check into your bank account and you're like, gee, I wonder where this is from. I guess we'll just spend it. What kind of irresponsible tomfoolery is this? Yeah, no, I'm actually just shocked at how stupid this is. But
It wasn't stupid, it was planned. He saw the money was sitting there and he had his own thoughts and just thinking about it. He thought that, I mean, from a business standpoint, he thought that in pipe dream world that he would be able to take the funds that actually came off of the charity to be able to utilize that to kick everything down the road a bit longer so that he wouldn't have to fold and actually show how terrible his deck of cards was about to actually collapse all over the entire planet. So, yeah, instead, everybody found out he FAFO'd. He really did. So, of course, everything crashed.
whatever, continuing. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs. Okay, we apparently covered that earlier.
Trying to raise it all
believe,
right.
based on the information available to us.
The problem with him saying that he was trying to raise it was the simple fact that there were a few of the artists that actually came forward and said that they hadn't been paid since Q3 24. And they were trying to say that payouts were at a net 90. It's like, no, this isn't the proper way to do business, bro. Really not. Because everybody else, indie-wise and whatever, if you're making any money, you're getting paid out at net 30 every month. You're supposed to be seeing your money. And the fact that these ladies all had the patience to just not get paid from last year. We are halfway through a new year. They've been working for free? Oh, hell no.
That we would be able to do so and cover all expenses. Oh no. Okay, so they were literally spending creator talent money and then going, oh, we think that we can raise enough money to keep us afloat and keep everything paying out. It kind of looks like they were running a Ponzi from reading this.
Yeah, it's a Ponzi.
We were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts. I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. No, dude, you made the decision to allegedly spend creator funds. That was your error there. You can keep your talent's funds in a separate account and try to raise money, and if you go bust, hey, you're bust, because that money wasn't yours to begin with, and that would have even put them in a better position to raise.
And that's even including with the percentages for cuts or whatever from agreements, you know? Like all of a sudden with regards to the corpo, they're on contract. So of course, with regards to the creator money, I don't know exactly what kind of a split or whatever it is to actually say sign up with Mythic Talent or anything like that. You know, I mean, they've got to have a percentage. I'm sure Vishojo had their own percentage and whatever, which meant that some of the money that was coming in was actually intended for them, but they were taking the whole wad. They weren't just taking their share, they were taking the whole wad. And that was just to pay the bills and kick it down the road. That's disgusting. That's abusive.
Because at least they would.
Okay, the only thing I can think on that one is, who needs a manager boyfriend when you have an agency like this?
Have betrayed their creators and all the creators' money would have been safe, then it would actually be easier for them to raise funds because, you know, they don't own any IP here. Their value prop is they have all these massive creators signed to them. So if they lose their creators, the whole thing collapses. So this is just stupid on a whole new level. Anyway, he then goes on to say that he is deeply sorry to all the talents, staff, friends, and community members who believed in our brand. You did not deserve this.
Yeah, and this part, I would not accept this. It's like, okay, deeply sorry. This just, I mean, for everything that he did, dude, you wrote it out and put it in a memo. The honorable thing would have been to actually show his inflection, do a video, because come on, you're an agency with VTubers. You should not be afraid of a camera. Seriously.
Justin Gunrun. Well, yeah, he's looking at a very rough year. Apparently, they raised $11 million, and clearly that completely imploded. So investors and the remaining owners are left with some serious losses. And since the creators are contractors, they would get paid after the corporate debt is paid, meaning the company has to pay the creditors first. And since there's apparently no money left, and they don't have any valuable IP, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think these creators are going to be getting any money. And that's just such a shame because it's owed to them. And it's not like they're going to make any money soon because they lost their entire roster. And who would ever want to work with them again? I mean, this is just such a disgusting disaster, as it looks like this company was using the money that was owed to creators to float the company to keep it alive. I can only hope in the long run this will only be a small bump in the road to all the creators affected by this, even though it's an absolute dumpster fire. And I just really hope this doesn't discourage them from making future content. But I mean, hey, either way, at least they didn't get a $6 billion contract to build a city and then build one single half-finished house. Like
the Akon
thing. I would
thing.
definitely recommend checking out that story here because that is also a complete dumpster fire as well. But hey, other than that, subscribe if you're new, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. This massive YouTuber.
So, of course, in regards to that one, I will definitely say, oh my God, seriously. Now, on all of that nonsense, the biggest thing to say is Justin's possibly going to be facing some serious problems. There's going to be a lot of investigation. He's probably going to be going over to the bankruptcy court. And as soon as you come forward to the bankruptcy court, those judges, those are evil people. They are going to actually say, hey, we want all of your records for the last, I mean, if they started in 2020, it's 2025. Normally in bankruptcy court, they go back 7 years. So yeah, they're going to want 100% of all of the fiscal documents, all of everything for the entire whole of the agency. And they're going to have it laid bare in the bankruptcy court. This is going to get nasty. It's going to get ugly. And on top of that, if they find any malfeasance, fraud, whatever, they're going to attach it to whatever name was responsible, and somebody's going to wind up A1 above the fold, and it's going to be all over the place. Like, whoever it is, doesn't matter who it is, a staffer, somebody on the board, whatever, even if it was one of the venture capital, we have no idea exactly what is going to happen next. But this is going to play out probably through the rest of this year, and it's going to be crazy. I mean, we're all going to probably be looking at it, and some of us are going to be making content and reacting to it, and it's going to be nuts. I swear, it's going to be nuts. But we're just going to try to move forward, I guess, because there's always more things, and we get to move on with our content and our enjoyment. So, of course, one of the things I also wanted to check out, because of course I'm a dad, and of course VTubers love Shoe on Head. I have not watched this. I do not know what it's about, but she decided that she was going to do a thing, and we're just going to have to take a peek at this.
Well, thank you to Ground New. Hopefully that.
Let's
Hello
go.
again, friends. Sorry I've been gone for quite a bit.
Yeah,
hopefully
you have
nothing too
been.
crazy happened. I feel like every time I take a break, like a war breaks out or something.
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
Thankfully that did not happen. But at
Mm,
least we found
yeah.
out the real Epstein files were the friends we made along the way. Welcome back to the Shoe on Head channel. If it is your first time here, run. I am
Yes.
Shoe on Head, and on
Leave.
this channel I like to cover cultural issues, mostly surrounding men's issues. It's what I've been doing for over a decade, and frankly, I'm exhausted. Many of you have
You're exhausted. I'm a dad having to watch all of everybody else out there. I got children that are in the dating scene and everything else, and having to listen to some of the things that are going on out there, and hearing different people and different peers and others that are still trying to make their way and find their waifu and, you know, have their life and kick things off proper. Yeah.
been along for the ride, and you have seen me go from a chipper, lively 24-year-old making fun of BuzzFeed and Tumblr feminists to a bitter,
yeah.
calloused 34-year-old talking about very real and growing men's issues. One of the main men's issues I have been covering in great detail lately has been the male loneliness epidemic. Yeah,
Oh,
but
boy.
turns out I was wrong. We don't have a male loneliness epidemic. We have a male loser epidemic. It's
Oh,
not
boy.
a male loneliness epidemic. No, it's a male mediocrity epidemic. It's a male loser epidemic.
The male loser epidemic has gotten so bad
This is coming from somebody who clearly is just wanting to pop off on TikTok.
that it's honestly so pathetic at this point.
Now, I don't always talk about men's issues. No, sometimes I talk about politics, and sometimes I mix the two together. Now, I know a lot of you don't like politics. You don't care about politics.
Yeah.
But politics cares about you. And it
Yep. It's just kind of like they say about the devil. You don't have to believe in him. He believes in you.
will enter your life no matter how hard you try to avoid it. But thankfully, I have the perfect app to help you navigate
Oh,
this
yeah,
difficult,
ad.
confusing political landscape. So let's quickly give a
Of
shout out
course.
to today's sponsor, Ground News, before we get into this video,
Mhm.
shall we? Ground
Let's
News
see.
is a website and an app that gives readers a fun and
Of course,
transparent
she has
way
to
read
change
the news
this.
from
Yep,
all
yep, yep.
across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center. Every story comes with a quick
Mhm.
visual breakdown of
I
the
don't use
political
it.
bias, ownership, and headlines that helps you understand the full story and make sure you're getting both
You just got to know how
sides.
to read.
One of my favorite features from Ground News has to be the blind spot feature, which shows you news stories that have been covered by only one
Mhm.
side of the political spectrum and ignored
That's
by
pretty
the
common,
other. For
actually.
example, here is a story about how the CIA uncovered a Russiagate fraud, and right away we can see how it has been covered by 41 sources, and out of those 41 sources, 93% of
Yup.
them lean right, with only 2 left-wing outlets reporting the story. Ground News also makes it really easy to compare headlines to see just how political bias
Because it comes down
can
to
affect the framing
traction
of a
and
story.
opinion.
For example, this story about Zoran Mamdani winning the Democratic primary in New York. This left-leaning outlet says Zoran Mamdani's win just got a little sweeter. And meanwhile, the right-wing outlet says, meet Zoran Mamdani, the man who will ruin New York. As you can see,
Yep.
very different vibes. I have been using Ground News since 2021 because I think it is so informative, so fun, and it helps me see how different stories are framed so differently, and I love it. I highly recommend it. It's one of the few apps that I wake up and just immediately check. But don't just take my
Yeah.
word for it.
Unfortunately,
Even a Nobel
I'm just
Peace
the
Center
weirdo
called
that
it
goes
an
to
excellent
Twitter
way
in the
to
morning.
Stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. High praise. Best of all, I am currently offering 40% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan
Yep,
I
yep,
use to
mhm.
access all of their amazing features. This comes out to only like $5 a month, which is like the price of a coffee. So go to ground.
Advertise that coffee. A lot of people can't afford it.
Code right there on screen, or the link in the video description down there.
Inflation
to subscribe
sucks.
to Ground News today. I feel like what they're doing is really important, especially right now, and it helps us approach the news in a more fair and balanced way. So thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? Now, let's get back
Yep.
to the video. With all these issues men are facing, they seem to be moving to the right and the Republicans more, since the left and Democrats
Okay.
have essentially just become the young men eat and die movement. Months ago, I covered how
That is kind of a question, isn't it? I mean, I'm not exactly in the dating sphere, but at least I'm getting some news on this one.
the Democratic Party was losing young men.
What can we expect? I'm an old man.
And I predicted Kamala Harris would lose in part because of young men overwhelmingly voting for Trump.
Okay, percentage point difference. See if I can actually understand this crap. Hmm. Okay. Well, yeah, I'd have to say if you're going to look at these demographics, women might actually be cooked with regards to dating if they don't want to date somebody conservative.
Trump, and I was correct. Well, now the Democrats have unveiled their final solution to the right-wing male loser epidemic. Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. Democrats have blown millions of dollars on efforts to appeal to American men who turned to President Donald Trump in droves on Election Day in hopes of winning back the working class. Democrats have spent $20 million on their efforts, with donors and strategists holing up in luxury hotel rooms, brainstorming how to convince working class men to
This just seems like begging at this point. Like they are doing nothing but beg. Like they're throwing money at the problem like nobody's business, and it's just not going to work.
return to the party. Ah yes, nothing more relatable to working class men than luxury hotel rooms. Great job,
Yeah.
guys. The plan? Codename Sam, or Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, promises to use the funds to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces.
Yeah, that's one of those. They're trying to actually figure out what the YouTube algorithm is actually doing, and of course, they don't have access to the sauce.
The effort also recommends Democrats buy advertisement in video games, among other things. The Democratic Party is
They tried advertising in the video games. Nobody would buy it.
treating young men like exotic animals they're studying. Now, as you can see here, is the young man in his natural habitat, in a
Oh,
dark,
God.
messy cave surrounded by Taco Bell wrappers and empty Mountain Dew bottles. Here is another young man, as you can
Oh,
see,
no.
also dwelling
Oh,
in a dark
no.
cave. This
No.
one has dyed his hair blue to scare off potential predators. Unfortunately, it also scares off potential mates. But moving on, here is
What do you mean, mates? He's off in the corner.
another young man. We think we're not quite sure about this one. We're still studying it. Listen, Democrats,
Oh,
instead of spending
Nux.
$20 million
Oh,
on that
Nux.
stupid- maybe you should, I don't know, actually listen to men. I listen to men for free all the time. All I have to do is read my comment section. Let's see here.
Yep.
Shoe on Head is a perfect example of why we need to repeal the 19th.
Oh my God. Man.
Greetings from Albania. I hate women so much it's unreal. Ooh, shoo, mommy, milkies, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy.
What?
One time I got my penis stuck in a soda bottle.
What? What? Huh? What? Dude. That's not just a skill issue.
Okay, on second thought, maybe my comment section is not the best source.
You
Trump
think?
scored big with young male voters last election. Democrats are spending $20 million to learn how to speak their language. I think it's a waste of money. Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men to not be such sexists. Maybe that's it.
Look at
Thank
what
you for
young
changing.
women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the
Oh, God.
feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They
Mm-hmm.
want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash.
Oh.
Oh,
No.
oh dear.
The very night I was sitting on my couch writing the script to my video about how the Democrats are spending $20 million to relate to young men, this came on my TV on Fox News. A
Oh,
Tanya
God.
Barron and Laura Ingraham segment about stay-at-home sons, men
Yeah.
who still live at home. Literally minutes
I saw
after
that.
this aired, it went absolutely viral on Twitter for not good reasons. So
Yeah.
we are going to unpack this piece by piece. Because
Oh,
even though
here
everyone
we
was mocking
go.
it and making fun of it, as far as I saw, nobody was really dissecting it and breaking down exactly why she was so egregiously wrong. So
Yeah.
come join me in debunking the male loser epidemic. Because who else better equipped to talk about men's issues than two
The only thing I gotta say about these faces in front of me is, seriously, who's your plastic surgeon?
stupid blonde bimbos? Hold on one second. 3 stupid blonde bimbos. Sorry. I felt left out. All right, let's go. Wait. I need my gamer fuel.
Ooh. Of course,
See?
the monster.
I do drink it. That one's for you, Tectone.
It's a major problem.
Oh, man. Oh. Oh, that harkens back to Tectone calling her out because she always had one around but never drank it.
And you know, Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. But Laura, I gotta tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. You know, that's a
Okay,
big
Tommy.
problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have
Somebody's not
stable
looking in the right
families.
spot.
But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And that's why we have declining birth rates and a lot of other problems in society. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air, meet people in real life.
Touch
Let's
grass.
Just get back to basics.
So first of all, this stay-at-home son thing is not a real thing. It was a random throwaway, self-deprecating joke some contestant on Jeopardy said.
Oh, what?
Because I guess there's nothing else important going on that they could cover on the news. They literally made this into a fake phenomena so they can on young men. Meanwhile, Democrats are spending millions of dollars trying to win back young men. Oh no, the young men are leaving us in droves. How do we get them back? Don't worry, I got this. Hey, you fat, lazy, Cheeto dust-covered slobs. F you. Nice. Thanks. I love you. I love you too.
Yep, and here's how it goes. Oh,
Is the amount
man.
of young men living home with their parents increasing? Yes. Is it because they're lazy bums and just want to order DoorDash all day? No. And also, they're not paying for DoorDash, Tommy. They're financing it. Come on. Get with the times.
Oh, what?
There are a lot of young men out there who want to live
That's
in
gotta be a
mama's basement
meme.
and order DoorDash, and that's why we have declining birth rates.
That's got to be a meme. That has got to be a meme. Klarna. Oh God. Oh God. Buy now, pay. Oh my God. It actually is a thing. You can finance your DoorDash in 3 payments. Ah. How are you gonna pay like $350 3 times for your DoorDash? Let's be real. It's more than that. But seriously. Oh my God. Really? Wow.
It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air.
Have either of you tried applying for a job as a young man recently? Or tried buying a house on the salary of one of these young men? Have you
Honestly, no, and I wouldn't want to. It is that scary.
experienced the dating market, been on the dating sites as a young man? No? Interesting, okay. Just wondering.
Yeah, I honestly would not even want to try to see the dating market. As soon as, things end for me, well, I'm not going to have interest. I'm just going to say it there.
Listen, I know the average age of a Fox News viewer is like 70 nowadays, and you need to pander to them, but Tommy,
At
you're
least
like
I'm not that
2
old.
years younger than me. You know this shit isn't true. Why are you talking like this? Why are you talking like a fucking boomer? I'm sorry, I have no other word for this, but I hate this like generational pick-me shit. I was born in the wrong generation. I'm
No,
not like
yeah.
those other young people. And you know what? She's not like those other young people. Not all young people can afford a nice nose job and lip filler and get a cushy job on Fox News.
That's exactly what I was calling out. It's like, yeah, seriously, that's the way it looked.
based entirely on merit, I'm sure. The main problem with this brain-dead, boomer-ass take is not only is it cringe, but it's completely divorced from reality. This slop is specifically designed for people who paid like $5 for a f***ing house.
Yeah, that is a perfect representation of how things actually went. Buying a house in 85 versus 22. I'm glad I bought mine in 20. Wasn't much cheaper. And it was a bitch to pull it off. But yeah.
And listen, not all boomers, okay? My parents are boomers, they are lovely people. A lot of you guys are boomers. But when the baby boomer generation sends its people, it is not sending their best. They are not sending you. They're sending people who have lots of problems. They're bringing the housing crisis. They're bringing wage stagnation. They're falling for AI-generated photos on Facebook. But some, I assume, are good people. But my god, I truly believe they do not understand how good they had it. They could support a family on a single income. A single income from a job that didn't require a college degree. Their leaders didn't prostitute away their economic future for some cheap plastic shit from China. They inherited the greatest economy known to man, and they pretend it's a paradise that they earned.
Have you seen the 70s videos? I mean, Saturday Night Fever? I mean, yeah. They tend to call that era time frame some of the golden years of prosperity, where the cocaine was rampant.
Just don't understand, like, why don't boomers and spiritual boomers like Tommy Lauren see people struggling and go, wow, I wish I could fix this. They should have it better than I had it. And you wonder why so many millennials and zoomers don't want kids.
Yep, because of course everything didn't work right.
I want to make the world a better place for my children. I want to make the world a better place for my children. Ugh. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you spoiled brat. Children. Not happening.
Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men.
Young men are becoming lazy because they're becoming feminized. So they're becoming lazy because they act more like women? What did she mean by this, chat? I know there's like a decrease in testosterone or something happening, but men are moving right-wing all over the world. Does that correlate with the feminization? Or, I mean, there are suspiciously a lot of far-right femboys, so...
What is that? Oh God. I don't even know what I'm looking at. What is this?
Maybe. But here's the thing, Tammy. There is absolutely no evidence that young women want to start families more than young men. None. In fact, all the data says the exact f***ing opposite. According to Pew Research, 64% of women younger than 50 say they just don't want to have children. No reason, they just don't want them. Versus 50% of men who say the same. Another study by Archbridge Institute shows the same. 63% of women without children said they have no desire to have a child, while only 50% of men said the same.
This is where we have to actually ask the question, why is this actually the case?
For men, the most commonly cited factor was personal finance, but among women, the strongest reason not to have a child was their desire to maintain their personal independence. Basically, they don't want to give up their brunch and mimosas.
Wow. That's a thing, I guess. But of course, men, we can't make the funds to actually make things work right. I can see that. Because most men, let's be real, we see ourselves as wanting to be able to actually provide. It's that whole mentality that we had going back years upon years upon years. And if you can't provide enough forward, it goes into men's worth and how we actually feel about our worth. And if we can't provide, then yeah.
Been ass blasted with propaganda their whole lives, telling them their lives will be ruined, their bodies will be ruined, they'll never have fun again, they'll be miserable forever if they have children. And as someone who has had a children, best decision I've ever made. 10/10, highly recommend, would do it again. But yes, this idea that men are the ones primarily responsible for the low birth rates is laughable. We're laughing over here. But honestly, it's not really women or men's fault. There are a lot of factors that play into this. But Tommy, I really gotta ask, is it men or is it you?
This is going to be the summer of canceling boys.
That's a good question.
All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think it might not be us. It might be you. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles now.
This is where all of a sudden this just reeks to me of not taking accountability. Just saying.
Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. They, quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country.
My friends are successful. Men don't give a shit about that. They'd marry a Walmart cashier if she was nice to them.
That's kind of true. If all of a sudden a woman had interest, they don't care exactly how much a woman makes. They really don't.
I think men between the ages of 20 and 30 are not ready, in most cases, for marriage, are usually not ready to be husbands and fathers.
That's a cultural issue. So, look,
No, I would actually, back to your point, I think it's a biological thing.
So let me get this straight.
Wait a second.
Men are all trash and won't commit and won't leave mommy's basement, and they're destroying the birth rates. But also young men are biologically incapable of commitment and being parents. What? But wait, there's more. She also believes women don't have to bring anything to the table.
And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money. But I don't think a man needs to...
I am seeing this panel. I am waiting for it. I am just waiting for it because there's Andrew right there.
Get something out of it to be a manly man, a protector and a provider. If you think you need to get something out of it, I quite frankly...
Oh my God. Oh, Andrew calling her out and saying, so you provide nothing.
Don't consider you a real man.
Never before in history have women demanded so much and offered so little. So before we get deeper into this retarded, manufactured, stay-at-home son narrative, let's check the Facebook comments of this Fox News video because I am really interested
this is gonna get fun.
Like the typical Fox News viewer thinks about this. If the women are anything like these two, I can hardly blame the men for staying home and not wanting to date them. Blame. These two women have a combined age of 93 and they have 0 children between both of them.
Wow.
They both have repugnant personality types, so listening to this was like male birth control to me. My goodness! Boomers are ruthless. Bunch of sissies. I served 6 years, 2 years in Southeast Asia after Vietnam was over.
Based.
When I was 18, rent was $450 and I could afford to get my own place.
True.
She's so spot on. Nothing screams I'm a loser run from me than a guy living at home in his parents' house with his 12-year-old boy's bedroom decor at age of 30. Thank God we raised our sons to be men, who grew up, lived on their own, found their soulmate, got married, bought a beautiful home, and started a family. I was out the door at 18, worked on the assembly line at Dodge and in the Air Force at 19, never went back home. I can't relate to
Yeah, and there's a minor problem with that. All the assembly jobs are gone, bro.
this. Yes, we know you people can't relate. We know. But the world has changed. Why can't you people get this through your heads? I will never let my sons stay home. I'm trying to push them out of the nest. Okay, I really gotta ask, is this an Anglo thing? Immediately kicking your kid out when they turn 18 years old? My Mediterranean mind cannot comprehend this. And honestly, why the would a man leave home, leave his mother's cooking for a woman who probably can't cook? Not me, though. Personally, I can cook amazing homemade meals. I'll have you know I am a great trad wife.
Oh boy. Oh, what? Oh God. What? Oh.
Apple teeth.
Oh man. Oh man.
Now, unfortunately, Tommy Lauren wasn't the only one pushing this stupid lazy young men go get a job bullshit. Mike Johnson did it, referencing 29-year-old men playing video games all day. Steve Scalise did it with 35-year-old men playing video games all day.
Dude, I'd love to play video games all day, but I still have things that I got to do on a day-to-day. Because I have a family. I have a house to take care of. I have people to provide for, you know? It's where there's a lot of things that I can't relate to. And a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, in a lot of zones can't relate to. But I'm here. and it is what it is. But yeah.
And just the other night, I saw this on my TV again.
A Wall Street Journal headline got our attention. The new dream job for young men, stay-at-home son. It's a phrase that's taken off since 27-year-old Brendan Leo won $59,000 on Jeopardy. And he has a master's degree in political science, but he's unemployed. Grow up, get a job, get a wife, build a family.
Just get a wife, bro. Just get a job, bro.
Oh, get a job? Yeah. Just get a job? Why don't I strap on my job helmet and squeeze down into a job cannon and fire off into jobland, where jobs grow on jobbies?
The term welfare queen must have fell out of fashion with Republicans because
honestly, I wish I could be a NEET. I'm just saying.
Because it seems even they know the approved safe demographic to go after now. Because it's very obvious what demographic they are talking about when they say young men in their basements playing video games. This just get a job lazy attitude is not surprising, but it's especially funny coming from Fox News of all places. Fox News that spends so much time yapping about immigrants taking American jobs. Fox News will talk for years about how Americans are being screwed out of the workforce. But when this issue manifests itself in Gen Z, suddenly it's a moral failure. The fact is, a lot of American jobs held by men are being lost to automation, offshoring, and yes, cheap foreign labor. Companies and billionaires would rather have cheap labor that they can essentially abuse, not pay fair wages to, just good little worker drones who won't unionize, rather than hire American workers for a living wage. The cheaper the labor they hire, the more money they make. I remember when Bernie Sanders called open borders a Koch brothers conspiracy.
Open borders? Open borders. That's a Koch brothers proposal. Which
what? Wow. Oh, the turntables.
Says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of the global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state.
Where'd that guy go? A lot of these jobs being
good
taken
question.
are jobs
Where did he
traditionally
go?
held by men like construction and factory jobs, manual labor work. But it's not just manual labor jobs, it's also the tech industry and business industry, which are careers also mainly held by men. There are many, many examples of this, such as Microsoft recently cutting thousands of American workers while requesting
layoffs abound.
More H-1B workers this year. Some of those job positions include data scientists, which are 70% men, software developers, which are 80% men, and electronic engineers, which are 90% men, and many more like that.
Nice to know it was all in the demographics I went to college for.
Where roughly 15,000 American employees were fired in April 2024, and many were replaced with H-1B visa holders.
Okay, yet McDonald's, Arby's, and BK all pay decent. We're just too damn proud to work there. Yep. Paying $25 an hour for direct service professionals, which is competitive, and finding people that want to work is dang near impossible, men or women. Well, yeah, DSPs are actually, I mean, for the most part, a lot of it is a hard job. I mean, but yeah, for the most part, on a lot of places, it's a hard job. But, you know, finding more people to actually do the job, that's another tricky.
Twitter, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy tried to chalk this up to these immigrants just simply being the best and the brightest. Yeah, okay. You're paying them less for longer hours and more work, and they're willing to deal with it in order to stay in the country. It's coercive, exploitative, and, dare I say, not very America first. When conservatives confronted Elon Musk for this last year, he told somebody, and
that's a bit of a thing.
Take a big step back and yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. So when it comes to replacing American workers in manual labor with cheap foreign labor, it's deport, deport, deport. But when it comes to replacing his American workers with cheap foreign labor, it's yourself in the face. Interesting. There's also affirmative action and DEI, which are other things Fox News always pisses and shits about. But suddenly, when the conversation is about Gen Z men, the demographic of people who are victims of these things, suddenly these things just like don't exist anymore. Then it's, oh, young men are all just lazy. They just want to be in their parents' basement.
Oh, well, agencies pay 15 to 16 an hour, so can't blame people for not making less than McDonald's jobs to work that job where you may be assaulted and not even allowed to defend yourself. Yeah, there is that. I mean, I even remember working minimum wage at a frickin' 7-Eleven, and yeah, I remember the drunk guy coming in one night because all of a sudden it was time to lock up all the beer cases, ripped me over the frickin' counter and beat the crap out of me because I wouldn't sell him any beer. I remember I quit the next week because I didn't get any backup, no support, no nothing. Yeah, I get it.
Man, ordering DoorDash and playing video games. But it's not just the brown people taking your jobs.
Yeah.
I am not beating the allegations with this one.
No, you're
the brown
not.
people are not taking your jobs, okay? It's not their fault. They're just cheaper. Aim upwards. But it's not just the brown people taking your jobs. It's the women, too. Many of the dyeing industries are male-dominated, while many of the growing industries are female-dominated, and stigma around these jobs being woman jobs usually stops men from working them. Women are overwhelmingly entering and excelling in college and the workforce, and they're more flexible about job position and pay, while young men usually hold out for higher-paying, higher-position jobs that will make them the breadwinner.
Yeah, and there's kind of a mindset around that. It's the men tend to hold out for the higher pay because they actually have an end goal in mind. They want to actually have it set so that they can make more, so that they can provide more, so that they can eventually be able to provide and create a family and create a life. That it's the mindset of building the house, putting it all together, getting it all there, and basically trying to go forth to make everything work. And of course, a lot of women, with regards to this argument, they don't entirely focus on making sure that they get that high negotiation point on their salary. So all of a sudden, they're more flexible and negotiable about it, which means in turn, they undersell themselves and then they get paid less.
Because you see, despite the world progressing and the role of women changing, the role of men has not changed. Every woman is a feminist until the dinner bill comes. But what's crazy...
Ain't that the truth? That even harkens back all the way back. All the way back. Like, from my dating days before I met my wife, that harkened all the way back. They were all feminists until the dinner bell came. As soon as, in the French, l'édition, as soon as that arrived at the table, oh yeah, that trust me, that bitch got slid right in front of me.
is women might be the ones paying that dinner bill soon. A study from the UK found
that'd be
women
lovely.
aged 22 to 29 earned about 1,000 more annually than men, completely reversing the traditional gender pay gap for this age group.
This is where all of a sudden I actually say, on the whole reverse side of this, if this is the way it needs to go and the way things need to change, well, if the woman is the one that is actually to become the breadwinner going forward and everything else, then I guess men just need to focus on going to the gym, making sure that they're good and attractive, make sure they're marketable, quit caring about how much pay and supporting and creating a household. And the women are just going to have to run forward the bill, pay the bills, pay everything forward, pay all of the finances. They are the ones that will have to build and create the house and everything like that. Meanwhile, all the men have to become house husbands. I guess that's a complete reversal of the patriarchy, is it not? I mean, why not? Because then the men get to stay home all day and go to the gym and take care of the kids.
US, a 2022 Pew Research Center analysis showed that women under 30 out-earned men in many metropolitan areas, with median earnings at or above 100% of men's in cities like New York and Washington, D.C. That may not sound like a lot of money now, but it's a growing trend that has never been seen before. It's so bad that it's really starting to affect the dating world. American women have never been this resigned to staying single. They are responding to major demographic shifts, including huge and growing gender gaps in economic and educational attainment, political affiliation, and beliefs about what family should look like.
Well, that's like I just said. It's like it's busting its way down quite a bit where all of a sudden women are going to be the ones that have to provide forward and the men are going to have to focus on their appearance and everything else to make themselves look dateable, and basically the men have to become the pick-me's. That's just going to be how it is. The men are going to have to figure out in the path of everything to how to be the pick-me to be able to actually continue things forward. Because, yeah. And if all of a sudden we have so many cat ladies that all of a sudden look back on their life that they were focusing really hard on their career, but they didn't manage to check off all the boxes for everything else, the only person they get to blame is themselves. Because they couldn't decide and pick a husbando to be with.
More women than men are attending college, buying houses, and focusing on their friendships and careers over dating and marriage. The challenges of finding a romantic partner have been made more complicated by a growing divide in education and career prospects between men and women. In 2024, 40% of American women ages 25 to 34 had a
Yep, this is another thing that I've run into. Most women on like other social media and everything, they still want men to chase after them, but it's still where all of a sudden the men have been browbeaten pretty hard with social media of being pointed out as a creep. So it's one of those, nope, this is where it's flipped around where women have the education, the careers, the money, and everything for that whole thing. Well, guess what, babe? You now get to pick. You have to choose. You have to make the step forward. Yeah, toxic masculinity ruined things. Yeah. This is where we're entering in some of the era right now of what I'd like to call toxic femininity, because they basically see, a lot of them are seeing themselves as above it all. So all of a sudden it's like, and then they get towards hitting, I mean, to use the term, hitting the wall. They get to that point where all of a sudden they're like, well, where did all the husbandos go? Well, dude, you didn't pick one. You need to step forward, walk across the entire thing, and go pick one. If you approach him in the gym, he's going to get scared AF because he's not going to know what's going to go on and whether or not he's going to be, called out and be called a creep and go viral, because that's the other side of it. It's you need to sort it out. Well, you are kind of right there with women not minding being the breadwinner, but not healthy for the male psyche. See, this is where all of a sudden I also say, with regards to the male psyche, you have to twist it a little bit. You have to turn it. If the woman is providing all of the breadwinning and everything else, and the man is actually taking care of things with regards to the child rearing and the house and everything like that, the man needs to actually have the high T outlets. He needs to be able to have going to the gym time. He's going to need to be able to do things around the house that are manly. Like he needs to be able to go work on the cars, do the maintenance that, all the male pursuits. That's a thing. He's going to want to be helpful and be able to provide value. And some of that value is not so much as bringing in the bread, it's also taking care of things. I mean, I can picture this. If I had a role reversal in my household and I was a house husband, I would probably be taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, taking care of the chores. That would be my requirement because I'm the house husband. I have to take care of all of these things. That's part of the deal. But on top of that, it's the go out, manicure the lawn. I mean, how many men use that as a hobby? Seriously, making sure that there are no weeds out there, making sure to actually create like a garden area, start agriculture, doing that. That's, I mean, for a man, that's like modern farming. you're creating crops, you're creating food. That's one thing that would end up happening. There's also, you know, seeing about actually having a homestead, that kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot of different outlets for that.
Bachelor's degree, according to Pew, compared to 37% of men. A bachelor's degree increases net lifetime earnings by an estimated $1 million. Women are doing comparatively well when it comes to education in their early years in the labor force, and men are doing comparatively badly. Men's economic struggles seem to be having the biggest effect on women without a college degree, whose marriage rates by 45 have plummeted to 52% for those born between 1930 and 1980, according to research by Cornell University.
Oh, nice.
Young men without a degree are struggling so much as a group that there simply aren't enough with steady jobs and earnings for non-college women to date. Men are poor, women most affected. Modern women are no longer tied to their gender role. Birth control has freed them from the prison that is their biology, and they are making their own money, sometimes more than men. They can have it all, they can do anything, they can be anything. While at the same time, men are still expected to be the provider. And more importantly, many men still want to be the provider, but they can't. And women, though strong and independent, still want men to be the provider.
And as a woman,
And that is the crux of it right there. Why everything's broken.
I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money.
Basically, men are like, we're worried we're not making enough money. And women are like, we're worried men are not making enough money. Hello class, I am Miss On Head. I am substituting for your teacher today. She was arrested for molesting a 12-year-old boy. So today we are learning about the graph. This is the growth in productivity versus hourly compensation graph. And you can trace almost everything bad happening in society back to this graph. As you can see, productivity increased while compensation barely grew over the same time period. Notice they tracked very closely up until around 1972. Now, what happened around 1972, class? Well, the top marginal tax rate was reduced from 70% in 1964 to 50% by 1981. The federal minimum wage began to stagnate. Income going to the 1% rose from 9% in the 60s to 16% in 2023. CEOs also went from making 20 times more than the average worker to making 350 times more.
Yep. And to do a little bit of math, that is a fuck ton of money.
Than the average worker. Anything else? Anything else happen around 1972? Yes, Jimmy, that is correct. Women joined the workforce around this time, but we don't have to get into that today. The fact is, hard work no longer guarantees success, and the will to work is tied to the fruits of your labor. And young men are fed up today because 90% of that fruit is rotten. Now, is there some truth to modern young people being lazy? Sure, I guess. Every generation had lazy people. And we do basically live in late-stage mouse utopia, after all. Young people today are faced with two options: revolution or escapism. And a lot of them are choosing escapism. Many have basically given up, but it's not like they didn't try. They tried and they found out the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, whether it's college,
it hasn't been worth the squeeze in over 10 years.
In a way, many young men are kind of choosing revolution. The never before seen large shift rightward in young men is a small revolution in a way. They're saying, this isn't working for me, this sucks, I hate this, I want something different. This is also manifesting on the Democrat side in general. The young men that are still voting left are voting further left. You saw this recently in New York City, where Zohran Mamdani, a self-proclaimed democratic socialist, won the Democratic primary. Young men are tired of the establishment, left and right. They're tired of the system, and they want to burn it down and start again. They want something that works for them because
tired of the entire system.
Is not working for them.
If you wake up one morning and you find yourself in a society where 23-year-olds with 4-year college degrees.
And the only thing that pops into my head right there from this is we live in a society. Pardon me while I roll my eyes.
And like Initiative, who aren't smoking weed every day, if they can't make enough to buy a car, much less a home, much less get married, much less have children, then why should you be surprised when half of them say they prefer socialism?
Huh. Fox News should hire that guy. There is an entire generation of fighting aged men who are enraged and feel like they have nothing to live for. You should probably start caring. When they saw this airing on Fox News, they saw an angry woman nagging in their faces about how everything wrong in the world is their fault. An all too familiar thing they have been hearing for far too long. But unfortunately,
been hearing it for over 20 years.
The age of 60 watches Fox News, so this is not really going to have an effect on young men whatsoever. So keep that $20 million. You might still need it, unless we get dragged into another war in the Middle East. If we do get dragged into another war in the Middle East, young men might come running back to the Democratic Party. Maybe not. Maybe not even a George Bush II electric boogaloo will have men coming back to the Democratic Party. Hopefully we don't find out. And as I'm editing this right now, a lot of young people, even the podcast bros, seem pretty upset about the Epstein thing, but we know Democrats won't take advantage of the situation in order to protect the Clintons, so maybe not even this will save them, but we'll see.
Nope, it's not going to.
That's better. So that was that video. What do you think of the male loser epidemic? Do you agree with Tommy Lauren? Is it all men's fault? Leave your comments below. I read them all. I am probably reading them right now as you type them. Wait, don't write that. No, you can't say that. No, it doesn't matter if it's with an A. If you like this video,
gonna get banned.
Subscribe. And if you can, donate to me on Patreon or leave a little tip with a little tip jar down below. I'll give it a little heart. It helps the channel and I appreciate it so much. And I will see you guys again soon with a new video, a new slop video, because I know you gremlins love that shit. Bye!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Of course. Of course. So, with regards to all of that, I do have to admit, it's about bedtime for El Kiddo. It is how it goes, so I'm going to have to be wrapping up here very shortly. So, that's the unfortunate bit. So yeah. All right. So I will admit it's been fun. Everything's been great. We'll have to actually see about things another time. It got a little bit late. And we'll hopefully have a good time tomorrow. Because I'll see about actually popping back on tomorrow and see how things go. All right. So we're going to take a peek at who we got here. All right. Well, what do you know? See who I haven't done in a while, and oh hey, why not? Let's see what he's up to. Let's see.
I'm not going to grade it.
Oh, looks like he's actually having some fun times playing the game. So we're going to actually kick it off. It's my good friend DJ over here. He's apparently on early. He's normally a late night streamer. So we'll definitely give him a drop in and see how things are going with him. Hopefully everybody has a good night. I've got a date night to get to here, as well as putting down the kid for bed. Granted, the twins are in their tweens, but there's still a required bedtime. It is what it is. It's called being a parent, bro. So hopefully everybody can have a very good night and everything can be rolling nice for you.